Hey, Drone here, back out with this JJRC Phantom. I've dubbed it a Phantom. It's the X6. I have a Mobious on the bottom of it, and what that should do, it should allow the Mobious to tilt with the gimbal, and we'll get the footage off that. I know the footage is going to be dope off that. There's no frame skippage on that. It might negatively affect the gimbal, but let's see. Let's go. This is going to be a video from the Mobious. Alright, so here we go. We are going to go ahead and just drop this down here. And you can kind of hear the servos working. There's not really enough clearance. And we'll give you a little motor fire. Bam! And we're going to lift off. We're going to have the rest of the video muted as far as the sound from the Mobious, because you don't want to listen to motors firing the entire time. Now, that what you've seen in the beginning, the lines, you get that when the sun is directly over top or to the side of your drone's lens and your blades are in between your camera and the lens. No, try to say that again. When the sun is above your blades and the camera's below your blades, which it always is, you'll get those lines. It's shadows casting across. But look at the quality. Look at the quality. The quality is amazing. The quality is much better than it was yesterday. The camera on this is only shooting in 20 frames per second, and this is shooting in 60 frames per second. It looks a lot better, right? And again, there goes those lines because the sun is up over to the left. Now, as we are going this way, we are noticing something. There is something besides the lines, because J-Drone decided to shoot this as soon as he got home from the store, because I got work today. The gimbal's working properly, but I'm noticing something that we noticed yesterday, and it was more apparent yesterday because the camera on this only shoots in 20 frames per second, so it stuck out like a sore thumb. It's not really sticking out like a sore thumb on this because, again, we're shooting at 60 frames per second. This gimbal's bouncing. The gimbal, the jitter effect that we seen yesterday, that was very, very apparent because we had low frame rate. It's not so apparent, but you can definitely see it on this. It's not as much as an eyesore because, again, we're dealing with 60 frames per second, so it's a continuous smooth movement, and we're seeing a little bouncing as opposed to the horrible jitter effect. So with that being said, I think if they got the gimbal down pat, even with the 20 frames per second, if the gimbal was down pat, they might have a winner here. But with the gimbal not being down pat and the gimbal bouncing up and down, and right here, this little wobble here, I threw it in GPS mode. I didn't calibrate the drone itself at all before takeoff, so that's what all that wobbling was about. We took it out of GPS mode and threw it into altitude hold mode. It kind of started orbiting because, again, I didn't calibrate it. But yeah, so I mean, this is what I was saying yesterday. If this camera was shooting in 60 frames per second, it would be a lot better. But again, it's not all on the camera. It is definitely not all on the camera because this camera is dope beyond dope, and you can see we are getting jitter effect. And again, those lines, don't worry about the lines. Again, sun's over there. Oh, now lines are gone. So if you ever get lines in your footage and you're wondering, why do I got lines in my footage? What's wrong with my camera? There's nothing wrong with your camera. It's just a perspective of the angle that you're facing. You got to know your angles if you're shooting film. But look at the little town. Look at it. Look at the clarity of that pool. Look at the clarity of everything. Clarity is amazing. But again, we're getting bouncing up and down. It's a little bit easier on the eyes because, again, we are not we're getting 60 frames per second. At 20 frames per second, it's not so great on the eyes. As far as jello goes, there's no jello. We can't say hello jello. No, there's no jello. This is a good quad. I'm pretty sure I've seen somewhere that this gimbal can come off. I think I'm almost to the point where I'm going to take the gimbal off and smack a Q6 underneath it, or smack this underneath it. This is very comparable to the Q6. If I could find a link for this, I'll put it down below. Mr. John Widrow, I believe that's how you say his last name. Mr. Chicago, the Windy City dude. He sent this to me a while back, and I absolutely love the camera. It is the smallest. Bam, getting a little bounce and coming down a little too quick. He sent this to me a while back, and I think it is the smallest, highest quality camera that I have. The Q6 is comparable to it, but this is a lot smaller. So all in all, this told us something. This absolutely told us something about the gimbal. The drone has zero issues lifting the extra weight. It's an excellent flyer. When towards the end of the video, I will do light light turnabouts and light yawing around the Cadillac and the Impala and the Kia, and you'll see this has the opportunity to be a really nice quad. And I think I think without the gimbal on it and just smacking a 1080p 60 frames per second camera underneath the body, we're gonna get some dope footage. Is it gonna be stabilized? No, it's not gonna be stabilized. Like right there, that's pretty stabilized. But again, we get the jumping, we get the bouncing. And over there behind me, which you can't see me, you might be able to see me in 3, 2, 1. Bam! There I am. Behind me is my shed. I need a bigger shed, guys. I live in NEPA, man. I live in northeastern PA, Pennsylvania. Any Pennsylvania people out there that like to build stuff, I need a shed about the size of my garage. I was going to buy one. There's one near me, but as far as moving it, it is not movable. They say you must move it, and here they got it encased in a yard that clearly, if anything went in it, would get stuck and twist tires. But you can't even get in it because it's enclosed by a fence. So how are we supposed to move it? We're supposed to lift it up over the fence? Not likely. So guys, I need another shed, man. Any shed guys out there? Anybody got the hook up? Hook J drone up. But all right, guys, this video is coming to an end. Again, we are looking directly into the sun there. We kind of get a hazy little look there. I'm gonna come over here for a catch. If you haven't subscribed, smash the subscribe button. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, down below. PayPal down below if you want to help support.